Hi, in this video we're going to look at working out averages from tables, and we're going to look at all the different sorts of averages: mean, median and mode. This is a GCSE both higher and foundation topic. It's grade C, and as ever, if you want to check out any other videos, have a look at the YouTube channel or follow us at Mr_G_Walton or at Tupton Maths. Also, this is the first time I've used this new slide background, so if you like it, leave a comment, if positive or negative. If you don't like it, leave a comment as well and we'll go back to the chalkboard. Okay, let's see what we're doing in this video. So the objectives of this video, we want to look at calculating mean, median and mode, or sometimes called the modal class depending on the data, when the data is given in a table form. So this isn't when you just get a normal list, it's going to be in a table form. We're going to look at estimating a mean when we've got a grouped table, and we're going to look at calculating which class the median lies in when we've got this sort of table of group data. Here's my first example then, and this example doesn't have it in a table, but I wanted to do it this way so I can show you exactly where the table data comes from. So the question says, Tom's football team's played 9 games, here are a number of goals they scored in each game. Now, I'm sure that you are comfortable at this point in being able to work out the mode, which is the modal class, which is the most often appearing. So the mode here will be 0. You'd be able to work out the median, that's the middle value, and you'd be able to cross them out at each end. You'd also be able to work out the mean by adding them up and dividing by 9 because there are 9 numbers. Now, what I want to do is show you, if this was done in a slightly different way, how you would still get the same answers. So here we're going to have goals. So I'm going to start to write this in a little table. Here are goals, and here is the frequency. So sometimes we have no goals, sometimes we have 1 goal, 2, 3 and 4. So these are like the categories, if you like, of the different things that have happened. How many times no goals were scored? Again, this is the frequency. No goals were scored 3 times. 1 goal was scored twice. 2 goals were scored once. 3 goals twice. And 4 goals once. Now, in terms of working out the mean, what you did when you added up all these numbers here was you did 0 plus 0 plus 0, or 3 zeros. You then added on 1 and a 1, or 2 1s, and 1 2, 2 3s, and 1 4. When we've got our data in a table like this, we can do exactly the same thing, but we can use multiplying rather than adding up. So what we're going to do is we're going to do frequency, and we're going to multiply it by our category, in this case goals. So we're going to do goals multiplied by frequency. 3 times nothing is nothing, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 1 is 4. I'm now going to add up this column. So what we're doing is adding up all the values. So 0 plus 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 4 gives us 14. If you want to check that 14 is the same as adding up these numbers, do that now, and that's fine, but it will. The frequency here will add up to 9, and again we were told that in the question. So what we can do now is we can say that the mean is the same as 14 divided by 9, and we can do that on our calculator, which gives us 1.56 to 2 decimal places. Okay, so if we've got data in a table form, we can work out the mean by multiplying our category value here by the frequency. We then add up all of the sums of our categories multiplied by the frequency and divide it by the total of our frequencies. Also from here, from the table, can we still see what our mode is? Well, let's look. The mode is the one that appears the most often. So what I'm going to do is look down my frequency list for the biggest number. The biggest number is 3, so the modal class is 0. So the mode is still 0, and we can see that from the table. And finally, median. The median is the middle value. Well, we've got 9 games. We're interested in the 5th game. 5th game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth game is the middle value, look. So the fifth game, now the fifth game appeared, let's see, well, looking down my frequency list, here are 3, and then 5 would be here. So the fifth one, the fifth frequency, is in this box here. So again, the median would be 1. And again, we can work this out from our table alone. We'll have a look at some more examples like this shortly. But this exercise here was just to show you where the data in a table comes from and how you can apply it to using the same rules as you would do in a list. Okay, let's look at another example. In this example then, we've just been given some data. We've got the number of children in each family and the number of families. So if we think about what's going on here, this first one, the first category, is in fact the category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number of children and family. The number of families is the same as frequency. So we can say that this is our frequency. If we wanted to work out the mean, the mode, and the median, what we're going to have to do is add an extra column on to this table. We're going to have a new column and some new boxes down the bottom with our totals as well. So the total, let's just, before we do anything else, let's just work out how many bits of information we've got. We have 6 families that said they have 1 child, 18 families with 2, 13 families with 3, 11 with 4, and 2 with 5. So the total frequency is adding up this column here. If we do that really quickly, we've got 24, 37, 48, 50. So we have 50. Okay. Now what we need to do across here is to work out what our category value is. So we'll call it category. And we're going to multiply it by our frequency. So in this case, I'm just going to call it n for number of children, multiplied by frequency. So we've got 6, 36, 39, 44, and 10. And then we need to add up these values. Again, that's 42. You can use your calculator for this, and you will get 135. Okay, so the mean then is the sum of our category multiplied by our frequency divided by the sum of our frequencies. Now, you may see this written like this: sum of f of x divided by the sum of f. It just, this is a higher terminology that you might see written down. I don't want it to overly confuse you, but I'll show you anyway. This symbol here just means sum of. This means the frequency multiplied by the category divided by the sum of all the frequencies. It's just higher terminology. We don't need to worry about it too much. It is in fact what we're doing here. 135 divided by 50, which gives us 2.7. So what this tells us is that the average number of children in a family is 2.7. What I would do at this point always is check that that value is somewhere in between the category values here. So if I got a weird answer here of like 18.2, that obviously can't make sense because the smallest number of children there were in a family was 1 and the greatest was 5. So 2.7 makes perfect sense. So my mean is 2.7. Mode, that's the modal class. So what I'm doing is looking down my frequency for the biggest number. 18 is the biggest number. So the number of children is 2. So the mode is 2. And the median, well, if we're looking at 50, if there are 50 people, then if I were to put them in order, I would get all the numbers between 1 and 50. What I would end up with is the 25th number, the 24th number, and the 26th number. If I start to cross these out, 1 crosses out with 50, 2 with 49, so on and so on and so on. We'd end up with crossing out until we ended up with these two. So it's somewhere between the 25th and 26th value. Now what I need to do is find where those values lie on my categories. So if we have a quick look, then we have 4, 6, and then 24, and then the 25th and 26th would lie here. So this is where the 25th and 26th value would appear, in this box here. So that means that the median is 3. A quick shortcut in order to be able to do this type of thing is to add up your first and last number. So 1 plus 50 gives you 51, and then divide it by 2. That gives us 25.5. That'll tell us which value we're looking for. That's the median number. Okay, let's keep going then and look at the final ourselves. Here we've got another table. It says 60 students took part in a sponsored walk. The times are summarised in the table below. Now what you'll notice is that the category values have got a range of values. So the time taken for these people in a walk go between 120 minutes and 140 minutes. And 3 people were in that category. Now we don't know whether they were all 3 of them at 120 minutes, all 3 of them at 140, 1 at 121 and 2 at 139. We have no idea where those 3 are within relation to this group. So all we can do is have a guess. We can estimate it. And the way that we do that is we put another box on before we do our normal calculations. So the other box that we're going to put in is called our midpoint. So we're going to add on our midpoint. The reason for doing this is it just means that we can have a guess. All we're ever going to be able to do is estimate the mean from the table like this. We can only estimate it because we don't actually know. But we could say, let's say that the time is 130. So we've taken the midpoint between 120 and 140. Let's do the same with the next category. We've got 150, we've got 170, 190 and 210. What we're going to do now is multiply our midpoint by our frequency. And then this is the box that we're going to add up, as well as adding up our frequencies. Now, again, I wouldn't waste time adding up my frequencies because the question tells us there are 60 students that took part in the sponsored walk. So the sum of my frequencies is 60. Now what I need to do is multiply my midpoint value with my frequency. So my midpoint multiplied by my frequency, and write the numbers in here. And again, you could use a calculator to do this, or you could do it in your head. I'm not sure what 26 times 150 is. So I'm going to put these values in my calculator. 3900. We've got 19 times 170. 3230. 1900 and 420. Just be careful when you're doing these that you get the columns right. I'm just going to adjust mine slightly just to make sure I add it up correctly. So this first one was 390. Okay, it's always worth keeping your columns in nice neat order to make sure that when you add it up you don't make any silly mistakes at the end. Right, I'm now going to add these values up. So we've got 0, 5, 4, carry 1. Then we've got 12, 14, 24, 28, so 8 carry 2, and we've got 6, 7, 9. 9840. So again, we're going to say that the mean, or an estimate of the mean, would be 9840 divided by 60. Let's see what that gives us. 9840 divided by 60 is 164. Now, let's just relate that back to the question. The question asked for the mean. 164 is within 120 and 220. That makes sense. In fact, looking at where the values are, most of the values are in the middle, so it makes sense that 164 would live here. So the final answer is 164 minutes. And remember, this is only an estimate. Estimate of the mean is 164 minutes. Here Here's one for you to do by yourself. It's very similar to the last example. You can see this is taken from an exam paper. There's 4 marks for this, so the marks we picked up all the way through. If you're not sure of what the terminology here means, this just means that the time goes between 0 and 10. It can include 0, but it can't include 10 because 10 would be in the next category. Okay, so do the same thing, see if you can work out an estimate of the mean, and I'll show you how to do it in a minute. Okay, so hopefully what you've done is you've worked out that you needed a midpoint, and then you're going to do a midpoint times your frequency. Okay, so add these columns in. Your midpoint is going to be 5, 15, 25, 35 and 45. You're then going to do midpoint multiplied by frequency. So you've got 34 multiplied by 5, so that's 170. 15 times 25, which is 375. 12 times 25, which is 300. 7 times 35, which is 245. And finally 2 times 45, which is 90. You're going to add these up, and you're going to add up your frequencies. Now your frequencies, you've been told in the question, comes to 80. Adding up your midpoint times frequency, you've got 170 plus 375 plus 300 plus 245 plus 90, which gives us 1180. So my estimate of the mean is 1180 divided by 80, which is 14.75 minutes. Okay, now the question didn't ask us to, but if we were asked, we should also be able to calculate what the modal class is. If you have a quick look, the modal class is between 0 and 10, because that's the one that's got the biggest frequency. We should also be able to work out where the median is. And again, if you have a quick look whilst I'm writing, so median, well, we're looking for 80, so we're going to have the 41st. Well, either way, it's around 40, and it's going to appear in this category here. 34 plus some more. It's going to be in the next one. So the median is going to be somewhere between 10 and 20. Okay, that's the median class. Okay, hopefully that worked out well for you. As ever, with all these videos, we've been making revision card notes. If you're doing something from averages from tables, I would make some notes on this. So the important thing is that you remembering that mean is the sum of your frequencies multiplied by the category divided by the sum of the frequencies. And if you prefer, you can write it in this form. So this is the mean. If you go on to do A-level maths and you do statistics, then you'll get quite good at these sort of this sort of terminology here. If you don't know the actual category value, so if we were given a grouped value, we're going to have to find a midpoint first, and this will only ever give us an estimate of the mean. We'll not be able to find the actual mean. Modal class means which group has got the most in it as ever, and the median is still the middle number. And most tables are already in order, so we can just add up to find where we need to be and write down that class. Okay, hopefully this has been useful. As ever, good luck with the GCSE exams. Keep looking out for new videos, there's lots coming all the time, and leave comments, subscribe on the YouTube channel for extra links to worksheets, etc., and to know when videos are coming out. Thanks, bye.